Two words and an issue that pretty much sum up the hyper-partisan political divide in America these days: healthcare. It was a huge issue for the Democrats in the midterms and could be again in 2020. The question is, what would you like to see?
We are going to be the party of great health care.
They have no health care plan.
I think it needs to be a national program and take care of everybody.
You do?
Yes.
If we've already got something there, let's go ahead and try to, tweak that a little bit and bring in some really smart people that, maybe know what they're doing.
What would be your ideal scenario with healthcare in America?
Well, if they could model it after the Canadian healthcare system.
Can't just throw it all out. How do you leave all those people in the lurch?
I think you need to make sure that it's guaranteed that the insurance companies will get the money that the government promised them they were going to get.
If someone is able to work and not working and then expecting free care, I'm not okay with that.
Lowering health care costs, lowering the cost of prescription drugs.
I think this problem needs to be solved in such a way that we can all look each other in the eye and say, you have the same access to quality health care that I do.
So that's the launching point for us this morning. Let's bring together our Sunday roundtable. I'm joined by Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican analyst Rob Gray. Guys, great to have you. Marianne, let me start with you. Let's start with health care. Well, we just heard the conversation about it. You heard what voters had to say. The president, after calling the GOP the party of health care, put off any specific plans until after the 2020 election. So how is this going to play out?
Well, this is the #1 issue with voters in every single poll across, everywhere. Yet Trump doesn't have a plan. The Republicans don't have a plan. They haven't had a plan for 10 years. And so Democrats would love to have this fight because that's how Democrats won the House back in 2018 rather. We could win the White House and the Senate on health care, and the Republicans have nothing to offer. So now Democrats have the free lane to talk about everything about health care, and that's an advantage for Democrats.
What do you think, Rob?
Trump can't help shooting himself and GOP candidates in the foot. I mean, he gets an initial win on the Mueller report because it says no collusion, and then he steps on it by launching into this health care thing. And the problem is that health care is an entitlement. So a lot of people didn't like Obamacare, but now it's in place, it's an entitlement. When you come out against that, it causes problems. And obviously, Trump doesn't have a plan. I think what Republicans will do will morph into opposing Democratic candidates who want nationalized health care, as some of the people in that piece talked about. That's not going to be popular.
But I feel like Trump didn't realize, just like pre-existing conditions 2 years ago, I think he heard everybody on TV say, 30 million people are going to lose their health care, and I'm sure he didn't know that until afterwards, so they pulled the plug on it.
All right, Rob mentioned the Mueller reports. It's a perfect segue into the next step. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler now has approval to send out a subpoena for the full Mueller report. It's his day of putting pressure on the Attorney General William Barr to provide the complete story to Congress, plus he may call White House staffers like Steve Bannon, for example, Hope Hicks, to testify under oath. Marianne, could this full court press backfire on Democrats?
No, not at all, because the fact is, the Mueller investigators, the people who investigated Trump and the Russian interference into the 2016 election, don't trust Barr either. The fact is 90% of the country want the report to be made public by everybody, including Republicans. That's the one thing everybody cares about. And Congress is doing its job, holding Trump accountable. That is their job. They've been doing it. The Republicans didn't do it over the last 2 years. They're an equal third-party branch of government, and that is their job. There's no blowback on this.
No blowback, Rob?
It blew up on the Republican Congress with Whitewater and the Lewinsky scandal in the 1990s. The same thing could happen to Democrats because there are so many of them that it's hard to control the message. And, Democrats in the House, Republicans even in the House, this is not a Mensa convention, okay? People say stupid things, and when you say stupid things and overreach, the public is much more in the middle. If they think that Trump is being persecuted by Democrats on this, it will help Trump.
Item 3 is Massachusetts Congressman Richie Neal, the chairman of the powerful House and Ways Committee. He has formally asked the IRS for 6 years of the president's tax returns. Congressman Neal says his committee has responsibility to conduct oversight of the federal tax system, but the White House is sure to fight this. Rob, how nasty? I was going to say, will it get nasty? How nasty will it get? Let me ask you.
This will be big box office. I mean, this is going to be a battle royale. First of all presidential candidates should release their tax returns, okay, Republican or Democrat. Trump didn't do it. This is where you end up. But secondly, this is going to be so complicated. Nobody is ever going to figure this out. I mean, Trump's taxes and probably any big developer's taxes are more complicated than the plans for a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, right? So I'm not sure we'll ever get the answers that people want, but it's going to be, a point of contention.
The president's response has always been audit. This must be the longest audit in the history of audits.
We don't even know if his taxes are being audited.
Right.
He could have provided the cover letter that said they were under audit.
Sure.
That's never happened. But here's the reality here, as we've always said on this show, Richie Neal was going to go get Trump's taxes. And he's done it in a bulletproof way. The way he it's the law. This isn't a policy. This isn't optional. This is the law that Richie Neal's chairman of Ways and Means can get Trump's taxes and will in the end. And he specifically went through a handful of businesses. He's not looking for everything. So they actually went in and dug and found specific businesses of Trump, because this isn't about how much he's worth or anything else. It's about where he got his money, from whom, including foreign entities to whom he could be compromised by to this very day and affecting how this government's been operating. And that is the whole point of this. Nothing to do with anything else.
Richie Neal will get them?
Yes.
Richie Neal will get them?
No question.
I'm not sure.
Probably,
it's the law.
All right, let's move on to Joe Biden and the accusations of inappropriate behavior around women. He has actually offered an explanation in a Twitter video. Here's a clip from it.
The boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset, and I get it. I get it.
Hashtag #MeToo movement making this a critical issue as Biden considers that presidential run. Even Nancy Pelosi advising him to keep his distance. Those are the words that she used. Marianne, where's this headed?
Well, the fact is Biden hasn't even gotten into this race yet. And on this one issue alone, they've had 3 statements and a video, and we're still talking about it. So bad start for them. But this is a bigger problem for Joe Biden. He's been in public service since the 70s. He's got 40 years plus of questions and incidences like this that may have looked okay or bad, look worse now, that he's going to have to explain. And when you're explaining, you're not winning. And that's the problem for Joe Biden.
I mean, we're watching Biden's campaign crash on the runway here. This is a guy, he's in his late 70s. He's past his prime. He ran for president in 1988, more than 30 years ago, and he's still running. That's not where the Democratic Party's energy is now. It's with much younger candidates.
And not a good candidate.
We continue on the record. Stay with us.